Stephen Miller is trying to rig the election. Let me explain. Because what's going on in Minneapolis is all part of a much larger scheme that dates back months and months. The idea, of course, is to send Donald Trump's paramilitary force, masked agents, intent on inciting and conducting violence, to create a whole situation in cities across this country where he can then invoke the Insurrection Act. And if he invokes the Insurrection Act, he can then claim that he needs to cancel the elections until the, quote, invasion is over with. But what we've seen in the last couple weeks are many more dots that are connected now in this master plan. This week, the Fulton County Board of Elections was searched by the FBI for their voter rolls and other voting information, all based on the completely bogus accusations that there was fraud in Georgia in 2020. Now, we're out of the statute of limitations for almost all crimes, so this is clearly an effort just to get information. But it's not the only one, because Pam Bondi wrote a letter to Governor Tim Walz that said ICE agents would withdraw from Minnesota if Minnesota gave the Department of Justice their voter rolls, which they have no right to and no need for other than to try to purge them. This comes on the heel of Donald Trump saying last week, on the same day, that he have to consider invoking the Insurrection Act, and later in that day, that we shouldn't even have elections. It's not a coincidence that he said those two things on the same day. So where are we right now? So this is all Stephen Miller's grand plan, a coordinated effort. But this is what you can do. Last week, I introduced an amendment to the DHS appropriations bill that would prohibit the seizure of any voting records, any voter machines from any states in advance of the election. The Senate can add that amendment. The Republicans rejected it, but the Senate Democrats can add that amendment right now to this bill before it gets passed. And that way we can begin to protect our elections. So call your senator, tell them to add this amendment, because we're not going to let them steal our election.